This morning, Elton John coming out in strong defense of Meghan and Harry, blasting the press on both Instagram and Twitter.
So, for years, Elton John has been one of Meghan Markle's most vocal and influential supporters, standing by her through some of the fiercest public scrutiny. But when reports emerged that he had made a surprising revelation, it immediately sent shockwaves through royal watchers and fans alike. Suddenly, questions began swirling about what had changed and why. Was this a misunderstanding, a private disagreement, or something far more significant? What Elton John is alleged to have said has fueled intense speculation, and the story behind it is far more complicated than it first appeared. But what kind of bombshell did Elton John drop on Meghan? How did Meghan feel about it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. Elton's bombshell stuns Meghan Markle. So, here's where things get interesting. Meghan Markle was hoping her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder, would mark a major turning point in her Hollywood comeback. The plan reportedly wasn't just to launch another celebrity podcast. It was to create a series that people simply couldn't ignore. To do that, she was said to be reaching out to some of the biggest and most respected names in entertainment, hoping their appearances would instantly give the show credibility, attract huge audiences, and remind Hollywood that she was still a powerful figure in the industry. But then came a development that reportedly changed the conversation. According to reports, Elton John declined an invitation to appear on Meghan Markle's podcast, a decision many believe was more significant than a routine scheduling conflict, given his long-standing friendship with Prince Harry and his public support for both Harry and Meghan during difficult times. Many expected him to back Meghan's latest venture. His reported refusal therefore surprised royal watchers and fueled speculation about what it might mean for their relationship. Instead, according to the reports, he chose not to participate. Importantly, there is no indication that Elton publicly criticized Meghan or her podcast. He simply did not join the project. Even so, that decision reportedly sent ripples through Hollywood, in an industry where perception often matters just as much as reality. People pay close attention to who agrees to appear on a new show, and who quietly stays away. Royal commentator Gareth Russell reportedly argued that celebrity endorsements can shape the success of a project from the very beginning. When globally recognized figures lend their names to a new venture, others often feel more confident about getting involved. On the other hand, if someone as influential as Elton John decides not to take part, it can raise questions that make other high-profile guests think twice before committing. For Meghan, the timing could hardly be more challenging. Over the past few years, several of her media projects and business partnerships have struggled to generate the long-term momentum many expected. As a result, every new venture carries even greater pressure to prove that she still has strong influence in the entertainment world. Whether Elton John's reported decision was simply due to scheduling, personal priorities, or other private reasons remains unknown. However, many observers see the moment as symbolic. It highlights the reality that rebuilding a lasting career in Hollywood takes far more than famous friendships. It requires consistent industry support, successful projects, and influential voices willing to stand beside you. For Meghan, securing that level of backing continues to be one of the biggest challenges in her journey beyond royal life. But why did Elton John drop the unexpected bombshell on Meghan? Could it be a deliberate step in setting boundaries? Let's find out. Elton John's warning changed everything. So, here's where this story takes an unexpected turn. When people talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's dramatic split from royal life, one name keeps appearing in the background: Elton John. And that's not by accident. Unlike most royal commentators who only watch events unfold from the outside, Elton has spent decades inside the royal circle. He's attended private gatherings, shared personal moments with senior royals, and built friendships that few people could ever imagine. That unique position means many people pay close attention whenever he speaks about Harry, Meghan, or the royal family. For many years, Elton John was regarded as one of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's most loyal supporters. Whenever the couple faced criticism, he often defended them, drawing on his own experience of living under intense media scrutiny. Having spent decades in the public eye, Elton understood the emotional toll of constant headlines, public judgment, and relentless attention. His empathy made him one of the few high-profile figures who consistently spoke in their favor after they stepped back from royal duties. Over time, however, some royal observers believed his public stance became more reflective. Rather than offering unwavering support, his comments appeared to focus more on the long-term consequences of the couple's choices and the importance of preserving important relationships. While he never openly criticized Harry or Meghan, many felt his perspective had evolved. Many commentators believe this change was influenced by Elton's close friendship with Princess Diana. Their relationship experienced both joyful moments and periods of disagreement, giving him first-hand insight into the complexities of royal life. Through Diana, Elton witnessed how public pressure, family conflict, and emotional wounds could strain even the strongest bonds. Those experiences shaped his belief that once trust is broken, rebuilding it can be one of life's greatest challenges. According to many royal commentators, the biggest problem was never a single television interview, one controversial statement, or one shocking headline. Instead, they argue it was the gradual widening of the gap between Harry, Meghan, and the rest of the royal family. As misunderstandings grew into public disputes and private conversations gave way to media interviews, rebuilding those relationships became increasingly difficult. The longer the distance remained, the harder it became to close it again. Now, this is where the story becomes even more fascinating. To understand why so many people believe Elton John sees the situation differently today, you have to travel back decades, long before Meghan Markle became part of the royal family. It begins with an extraordinary friendship that looked glamorous to the public, but behind closed doors revealed just how delicate even the strongest royal relationships could be. That remarkable chapter would eventually shape how Elton viewed loyalty, forgiveness, and the true cost of walking away from the monarchy. What kind of relationship did Elton share with Diana? Could it really have influenced the way he showed up for Harry and Meghan? Keep watching. How Diana Changed Elton Forever. So, before Meghan Markle ever became part of the royal story, there was another royal friendship that meant far more to Elton John than most people realized. Long before the headlines about Harry and Meghan, Elton had formed a remarkable bond with Princess Diana. A friendship built not on fame or privilege, but on something much deeper. It was a connection that would shape the way he looked at the royal family for years to come. During the early 1980s, while the world celebrated the fairy tale marriage of Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer, Elton John was privately struggling with the pressures of global fame. Though adored by millions and performing to sold-out crowds, he faced loneliness, constant scrutiny, and the heavy burden of living under the public eye. Diana soon discovered that royal life brought similar challenges. Behind her warm smile and glamorous image were relentless expectations, endless media attention, and little personal freedom. Every appearance, decision, expression, and even moments of silence were closely examined. These shared experiences of fame, pressure, and isolation would later form the foundation of the deep friendship that developed between Elton and Diana. When Elton and Diana first met, there was an instant sense of understanding between them. They didn't need long explanations because they were both living under an almost impossible spotlight. They knew what it felt like to be admired by millions while quietly carrying struggles that very few people could truly understand. Their friendship wasn't built around glamorous parties or famous events. Instead, it grew through honest conversations, shared laughter, and the comfort of knowing someone else genuinely understood the weight of constant public attention. One of the things Elton admired most about Diana was the kindness she showed when no cameras were needed. She had an incredible ability to make people feel comfortable, valued, and seen. Years later, Elton often spoke about her warmth, saying she never treated compassion like a performance. It came naturally to her. Whether she was talking to world leaders or comforting someone going through unimaginable pain, Diana gave people her full attention. That compassion became especially powerful during the HIV and AIDS crisis, when fear and misunderstanding caused many people to avoid those who were suffering. Diana chose a different path. She sat with patients, held their hands, and treated them with the dignity and respect they deserved. Elton deeply admired her courage because he was equally committed to supporting the same cause. Their shared dedication to helping others brought them even closer, creating a friendship built on trust, compassion, and a mutual understanding that would later influence how Elton viewed another woman entering the unforgiving world of the British monarchy. Was Elton's relationship with Diana all smooth? What fractured the relationship? Stay glued. The friendship that quietly fell apart. So, here's where this story takes an unexpected turn. Most people remember the deep friendship between Elton John and Princess Diana, but very few know that, for a time, the two stopped speaking altogether. It wasn't because of a dramatic public argument or a shocking betrayal. Instead, it was a series of misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and unfortunate timing that slowly drove a painful wedge between two people who had once shared a truly special bond. The trouble began in 1996, when Elton invited Diana to support a charity project focused on raising awareness about AIDS, a cause that was incredibly close to both of their hearts. They had each spent years using their influence to fight fear, challenge harmful stereotypes, and encourage compassion for people living with the disease. When Elton first approached Diana, she reportedly welcomed the idea, and it seemed like another opportunity for the pair to work together on something they both deeply believed in. But then everything changed. As plans moved forward, Diana unexpectedly withdrew from the project. Reports at the time suggested that royal advisors had become concerned about certain aspects of the campaign, worrying about how it might be viewed by the public or how it could affect the image of the monarchy. Whether the decision was entirely Diana's or heavily influenced by those around her has remained a matter of debate. But from Elton's perspective, the reason almost didn't matter. What he felt was disappointment. To him, it wasn't simply a charity event that had fallen apart. It felt as though a close friend had stepped away from a promise they had made together. Someone he trusted now seemed distant, and that emotional wound was much deeper than the canceled project itself. As the weeks passed, the warmth that had once defined their friendship slowly faded. Letters were exchanged, but instead of healing the situation, they reportedly created even more confusion. Small misunderstandings grew into larger ones, and neither side seemed able to find the right words to repair the damage. Before long, the easy conversations and shared laughter that had once come so naturally were replaced by an uncomfortable silence. The saddest part was that there was never a loud confrontation. There were no angry headlines, no public insults, and no dramatic scenes. Instead, the friendship quietly drifted apart, almost without either of them realizing how far the distance had grown. Both may have believed there would always be another opportunity to talk, another meeting, another chance to explain what had really happened. Sadly, life had other plans. For Elton, this became one of the most heartbreaking memories he would ever carry. It was a painful reminder that even the strongest friendships are not immune to misunderstanding. Sometimes it isn't one life-changing argument that pulls people apart. Sometimes it's the conversations that never happen, the apologies that are delayed, and the moments we assume can always wait until tomorrow. Was Elton's friendship with Diana ever revived? On what terms were they before Diana's death? Stay tuned. The reunion that ended too soon. So, just when it seemed their friendship might never recover, life took an unexpected turn. In the summer of 1997, the shocking murder of world-famous fashion designer Gianni Versace brought two old friends back into each other's lives. The tragedy sent waves of grief across the world, drawing celebrities, public figures, and close friends to Milan for his funeral. Among those mourning were Elton John and Princess Diana. Neither of them could have known that this heartbreaking occasion would also become the moment that changed their own story. For months, there had been an uncomfortable distance between them. Hurt feelings and misunderstandings had created a silence that neither seemed able to break. But surrounded by sorrow and reminded of how fragile life could be, something shifted. Instead of allowing the past to keep them apart, Diana reportedly decided to make the first move. She reached out to Elton with warmth and kindness, choosing forgiveness over pride. The tension that had once stood between them slowly melted away as they talked openly again. What had seemed like a friendship beyond repair suddenly felt alive once more. Years later, Elton would look back on that meeting as one of the most meaningful moments of his life. It reminded him that even the deepest disagreements do not always have to be permanent. Sometimes all it takes is one person finding the courage to start a conversation. Their reunion became a powerful example that broken relationships can still be healed if people act before time runs out. But fate had other plans. Only a few weeks after they had reconnected, the world was rocked by another devastating tragedy. Princess Diana was killed in a car crash in Paris, leaving millions in disbelief and grief. Any hope of continuing the friendship they had just begun to rebuild disappeared in a single heartbreaking moment. The conversations they might have shared, the memories they could have created, and the years they might have enjoyed together were suddenly gone forever. On September 6, 1997, Elton John stood inside Westminster Abbey before a worldwide audience to say goodbye to his friend. With deep emotion, he performed a specially rewritten version of Candle in the Wind, turning the song into one of the most unforgettable tributes in modern history. While millions saw the performance as a remarkable moment, Elton has often described it very differently. For him, it was never about fame or applause. It was a painful farewell to someone he deeply cared about, a constant reminder of a friendship nearly lost to silence and of precious time that could never be recovered. That experience stayed with him for the rest of his life, serving as a quiet but powerful lesson. It reminded him that pride, unspoken words, and delayed conversations can leave lasting regrets. Sometimes the hardest conversations are the very ones that matter most, because once the opportunity is gone, it may never return. Did Elton offer any advice or guidance to Meghan after her marriage into the royal family? Did he anticipate something weird due to his experience with Diana? Stay with us. Elton's warning. Meghan couldn't escape. So, when Meghan Markle married Prince Harry in 2018, it didn't take long before people began comparing her to Princess Diana. The similarities were hard for many to ignore. Here was another confident, outspoken woman entering one of the world's most famous families, determined to do things in her own way. Some admired her independence and believed she represented a fresh, modern chapter for the monarchy. Others, however, questioned whether she truly understood what life inside the royal family demanded. Becoming a royal, they argued, meant accepting centuries of tradition, strict expectations, and countless personal sacrifices that often came before individual wishes. Among Meghan and Harry's most vocal supporters was Elton John. His support wasn't surprising. After all, he had watched Diana endure years of relentless media attention and firsthand witnessed the emotional strain that came from trying to balance personal happiness with royal duty. Because of that experience, Elton appeared to sympathize deeply with the challenges Harry and Meghan faced. To many, he saw history repeating itself and hoped the couple would avoid the pain Diana had experienced. But as the years passed, the story became far more complicated than anyone had imagined. Harry and Meghan made the remarkable decision to step away from their roles as senior working royals and begin a new life in the United States. It was a move that shocked the world and completely changed the public conversation surrounding them. They later shared their experiences through high-profile interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and Harry's memoir, revealing painful details about their time within the monarchy. Supporters praised their honesty and described their decision as an act of courage. Critics, however, believed every new revelation pushed them further away from the royal family, making reconciliation seem more difficult with each passing year. Many royal commentators eventually argued that Meghan's biggest mistake wasn't one interview, one speech, or one controversial remark. Instead, they believed she underestimated just how much compromise royal life demands. Inside the monarchy, disagreements are often expected to remain private, handled quietly behind palace walls rather than in front of millions. Once family tensions became global headlines, repairing those relationships became far more challenging. In an institution built on loyalty, patience, discretion, and continuity, public opinion alone could never resolve deeply personal conflicts. This is why Elton John's perspective continued to attract so much attention. He wasn't simply offering an outsider's opinion. He had lived through the heartbreak surrounding Princess Diana and understood, perhaps better than most, what happens when private struggles become public battles. He knew how easily trust can be broken, how quickly headlines can deepen divisions, and how incredibly difficult it becomes to rebuild relationships once both sides have firmly taken their positions. What was Elton John's warning to Meghan about? Does his warning sound relevant to Meghan's situation? Let's find out. Elton John's powerful royal warning. So, here's what makes this story so fascinating. When people talk about Elton John, Meghan Markle, and Prince Harry, the conversation often goes far beyond royal headlines or celebrity friendships. At its heart, it's really about something almost everyone can relate to: the painful reality of watching important relationships slowly fall apart. It's not simply about deciding who was right or wrong. It's about asking whether those relationships could have been saved before the distance became too great. For Elton John, this isn't just another opinion. It's something shaped by personal experience. His close friendship with Princess Diana taught him that the biggest danger isn't always a loud public argument. Sometimes it's the quiet moments that cause the deepest damage, the misunderstandings that are never cleared up, the conversations that never happen, and the pride that keeps people apart until it's too late. Those painful memories have led many royal watchers to wonder if the growing divide between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the royal family followed a similar path. That question has sparked years of debate. Some royal commentators believe Harry and Meghan might have achieved more if they had focused on private discussions and quiet attempts at rebuilding trust, instead of allowing so much of the conflict to play out in public. Others strongly disagree, arguing that the couple faced enormous media attention, personal pressures, and challenges within the royal institution that made private solutions far more difficult than outsiders may realize. Because of that, no one can honestly say that a different approach would have changed the final outcome. What gives Elton's thoughts special meaning is the life he has lived. His friendship with Diana experienced difficult moments too, and he knows firsthand what it feels like to realize that certain conversations should have happened sooner. Losing someone before every misunderstanding is resolved leaves questions that can never truly be answered. Those experiences shaped his deep belief that loyalty, honesty, and open communication are worth protecting, even when relationships become strained. Perhaps that's why Diana's decision to reconnect with Elton before her tragic death still carries such emotional power. It became proof that bridges can sometimes be rebuilt, even after difficult periods. Looking back, many people can't help but wonder whether enough similar efforts were made to heal the divide between Harry, Meghan, and the rest of the royal family before positions became too deeply entrenched. In the end, this story reaches far beyond the walls of the monarchy. It serves as a reminder that life rarely offers endless opportunities to repair broken relationships. Waiting too long to have difficult conversations can leave people with silence instead of understanding and regret instead of peace. Elton John's reflections encourage all of us to value communication, choose humility over pride, and seek reconciliation while there's still time. So, what do you think about Elton John's bombshell on Meghan Markle? Could it be due to his exhausted patience? Or is he setting quiet boundaries? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.